Hi there, my name is Dennis Herrera, and I want to thank you for watching this video. Today I want to start this video with a little disclaimer that I am an immigrant that was brought to the United States by my mother when I was about 13 years old, and that I love all my Latino people, regardless of status of citizenship here in the United States. We and our family have had illegal immigrants, and I have always opposed, my mom has always opposed, has never been fond of the idea of coming here illegally. And some of our family members have come here illegally in desperation. Now, I will agree that some of them, they didn't really have to come here. And even those that didn't have to come here came legally. And thanks to God, they are all now citizens or residents, as per some. Now, me myself, I was a resident for about 20 plus years, honestly. I didn't want to be a citizen, but I realized that having that my family has all come over here, uh, I made a family here myself. And as much as I have been here for over 35 years, I feel the culture shock is very real. I still miss my country, of course, and I wish that I can go back, but I can't make my kids or my wife go through that culture shock as I have. So with that being said, if it happens in the future to where maybe God takes us back to Honduras, I will take my wife and my kids with me. Hopefully they want to be with me going back to Honduras. Honduras is a very beautiful country, and there is good and there's bad people, just like there is anywhere in the world. So with that being said, let's get into this video. I wanted to touch the subject of taxes because I have seen people on the streets going around saying that illegal immigrants have paid over $100 billion to the United States just in this last 2024, I believe. I researched it, and that is the number that I also found. Now, what's very interesting here is that it is a requirement for residents and citizens to claim taxes, to do taxes. And there is a social, sort of social system in our tax system that allows for wealth redistribution. And that goes all across the United States. In some states, it's more expensive, and in some states, it's less expensive. In my case, what I have found, and I will give you guys a few examples that I wrote down here. When we talking about taxes, now I'm not no expert on taxes, but common sense and experience of doing taxes myself for my family. When you do taxes, if you are in an income household of $115,000, most likely if you have 3 children, you would pay around maybe $7,000 in federal taxes, right? For some cases it's different. I claim zero when I do my taxes, or when on my income, I mean, but when I do my taxes, then I claim my dependents. That way I pay more out of my checks, hopefully not owing any money to the government. And so that's how I do my taxes. So I do get a little bit of money back, but not as much as some people. But I will give you an example. Here in the state of Washington, if you're making $115,000 and you have 3 children, you pay around $6,000 to $7,000 in taxes. But your refund, it's about the same. So you get about $6,000 to $7,000, which is great. I think is good. Again, health redistribution throughout the United States should be fair accordingly. And is to me is a socialist part of it, because socialism and even communism, is done to redistribute wealth to people according to how much they made, and also according to their needs. In this case, people with more children will get earned income credit and they'll get more money. I have an example here. At $50,000, you will pay around $3,000 in federal income tax, and your refund is about $6,500, okay? And this is just kind of, if there's no debt owing or anything like that. So you get around $6,500 if you have 3 children. Now, what happens when you get to a level where you don't make that much money? And I went down to a number that is pretty average for most poor folks here in the state of Washington. If you go to Seattle downtown, the median pay is about 75,000 average. There's a lot of Microsoft, and Apple and all these employees there that make a lot of money. But this is in downtown Seattle. Now you're moving out away from the downtown Seattle, in places like Everett, Marysville, and so on. Everybody has a different tax bracket that is always different to everybody else's, right? What happens when you make $35,000, which a lot of people don't even get to that, okay? If you have $35,000 a year, you pay around $2,500 in taxes, and guess how much your refund is? Your refund is about $9,000 to $10,000. So think about that. Now, I agree with the redistribution system. I think it's fair and it helps Americans. But Democrats keep raising taxes on everything, okay? That's the big problem, especially in blue states. The red states, Republican states, they get to see the change in pricing. Gas prices go way down. Food prices, everything goes down. But in blue states, they got so much taxes on everything that we have to pay double of what a red state will pay in some cases. For example, we're paying almost $4 a gallon of gas when other states are only paying $1.98, $2 gallons per gallon of gas. So it makes a big difference. But think about that. If you're making $35,000 and you got 3 children, you can get anywhere between $9,000 to $10,000 back in your taxes. And what happens when you have 4 children and maybe 5 children and your income is still the same? You say, well, that's fair. They got kids and that's not a problem. We have to deal with it. Here's the problem. At $35,000 with 3 kids, you qualify for free medical services, Medicaid. You qualify for food stamps, and that's going to be about $200 per. So you get about $800 to $1,000 in food stamps. Plus, you qualify for maybe housing, Section 8, for example. And, systems like that taxpayers' money goes into. Now, when President Trump goes in and says, I want this big, beautiful bill to go through, okay, there's no more taxes on overtime, which I think overtime has been the biggest slave driver for us that have to work overtime to make that extra ends meet, and that the government takes most of it off. So a lot of people get discouraged from working overtime because the state and the federal government takes all that money away from you. With Trump's big, beautiful bill, there's no more taxes on overtime. So if you sacrifice family time because you have to go to work and you want to make that extra money, it's beautiful. I think that within maybe 20 hours of overtime, I make my check for the whole week. But when they tax it, man, it's a big cut in overtime. So I have a problem when it comes to that. And then you can see that having illegal immigrants paying $100 billion in taxes, and you imagine how much money they actually get back in tax refunds. Now, let's be clear. If you're an illegal immigrant, you are not supposed to be able to claim taxes. But somehow, the IRS has found a way to give them a number so that they can actually do their income tax. And if you pay taxes, you can claim tax returns. So, and that's the rule. They don't go about if you are not a citizen or if you're a resident. I don't know when the law got broken into, but that's the way it is. So there's certain ways that you have to pay taxes. And one of them, of course, you're a citizen or you're a resident or you're in here on a working visa. You have to be in the States longer than 180 days, I believe, in order for you to qualify to work and pay taxes. Now, what happens? A lot of people stay here. They come with a visitor's visa, which is not meant to work, and they stay here and they overstay. Not because they overstay, for some reason, they qualify to pay and claim taxes. I think the system is broken, and I appreciate Donald Trump. The president is doing a beautiful, phenomenal job, and I will make a video about, other things that he's doing in the Middle East. By now, you guys probably should know already. But I think it's amazing, it's beautiful, it's very inspirational, and it's crazy how much the hate is here in his homeland. It's unbelievable. We have another problem besides tax problem. We have what they call sanctuary cities. Here in Washington State, we are considered a sanctuary city. Now, what gives me hope is some of you guys that have been watching my videos and my short videos have commented on, and I would like to say thank you guys for your input. One of you guys told me that it's not blue states, it's blue cities. And I like that because it makes me feel like there is some hope that maybe the other cities that are still red will rise up, and we can make our voices heard. Now, we never want violence, number one. Just as Donald Trump has always told us, we do not want violence. We want to do everything peacefully. And I'll be honest with you. And as some of you already know that I lost my brother-in-law to fentanyl. Well, what you guys don't know is that same day that I lost my brother-in-law, I went to Walmart, and I'll be honest, I'm not here, of all. Thank God for my faith in God. I really praise the Lord for giving me the patience and the strength. But I went to Walmart, and as I was shopping, I heard a glass breaking, like somebody dropped something and broke it. And as I'm coming around the corner in the aisles, I see these young adults, maybe 19 to 25, maybe in range, and they were playing volleyball. And I'm not talking about just tossing the ball to each other, just here, across the aisle where people are walking. And so I went over there, and I saw them, and I was just like, hey, can you stop playing volleyball here? There's like customers, there's people walking around. I heard something broke. I don't know if it was you guys, but can you stop and see? And the girl says that had the ball in her hand. She says, it's Walmart. And I'm just like, yeah. And it's not a volleyball court now, is it? And some of the guys, there's four of them, and some of the guys were laughing. But here's the thing. Up here, I was so devastated about what had happened in the morning. And I warned them, and I said, listen, you guys need to be respectful. You don't know what somebody else is going through. And one day, that person that you disrespect is not going to have the patience. And they're going to do something very harmful to you. Now, I own a gun, and I have prepared myself to be very disciplined with it. Never take it out. Never go and threaten anybody with it. But I will tell you, I was disappointed in myself, because at the moment that I was going through this grief, and it's just been a week, okay? But I was going through this fresh grief of losing my brother-in-law. Good heart, bad mind. I don't know how else to describe it. But I was disappointed, not that I thought I'm going to grab my weapon and I'm going to defend myself. No, not that. I was disappointed in that they were being very disrespectful, calling me names and just getting on my face. And I felt myself inside losing myself. Like I could really go and beat these guys up. I really can. I'm 6 foot tall, almost 6'1", 280 pounds, which means really not much, especially for my age and injuries from football, blah, blah, blah. But I can still hold myself. And I was disappointed that I didn't catch on. Some of them laughed. Maybe I could have diffused, the situation a little bit better. But my point stands that they never know when somebody is going to be having a really horrible day, and they might take it out on them. And what's crazy is I think two of them were arrested a few days before then at the University of Washington, where they made some burnings and just made a little riot at the University of Washington. And it's okay, they're out free, that's fine. But they're all wearing black. They look very shady. They look worse than me, like they haven't slept for days, probably doing drugs. And this is the kind of people that, unfortunately, is what we have here in the States. And it's very, very, very hard to deal with. But going back to the sanctuary cities, I don't mind helping our neighbor. As I said in this video, I love my Hispanic, my Latino people, legal or not, I love you. But the reality of things is, if you're here illegally, if you haven't been deported yet, at some point, you will be deported. Now, there's a due process, and I've said this a couple of times in one of my videos and in some of my shorts. Due process for illegal immigrants. It's only show me your papers. If you legally have the right to stay here or authorized to stay here, and you committed a crime, you get due process, which means you get to go to court. You get a court date, you get to be represented, and you get to be heard and present your case of why you're not guilty of something. But the process for illegal immigrants is if you come here and you are found that you don't have any authorization to be here in this country, to stay even for an hour in this country, the due process is that you get deported. You get deported back to the country where you came from. Unfortunately, a lot of Latinos have figured out that it's easier to get deported to Mexico and then can come right back over the border. Now with Trump's new border security, that has deterred a lot of them. And let me tell you, in Mexico, they're not really happy about it because all those illegal immigrants that used to come through there used to bring business money to them. Cartels and all these people that knew the routes to bring those illegals in here were making tens and twenties and maybe hundreds and thousands of dollars bringing people in here illegally. Now, they didn't care if they got raped, if they got, violated and got robbed and got left for dead somewhere in the desert. They didn't care about that. They just care about the money that comes to them. The president of Mexico, Sheinbaum, Claudia Sheinbaum, she does not want the United States to help her get rid of the cartel. She's afraid that the cartel has tanks and all these big weapons. Well, so do we. And if you don't want to do anything about it, the President of the United States and the Army and the Navy and Air Force and everybody is more than willing to take care of this problem for you. And she says no. Now, if she is so afraid of the cartel and she says that she just can't do anything about it, well, what is she going to do if we decide to go into Mexico and take care of these cartels anyways? Because technically, they're terrorists and we don't have to ask for permission. That's for another story, but think about that. Let that marinate for a little bit.
So Mexico is saying that I offered to send U.S. troops into Mexico to take care of the cartel. She wants to know, is that true? Do you think I'm going to answer that question?
That's why I'm asking. We'll see.
I will answer it. It's true. Absolutely. Because they are horrible people that have been killing people left and right, they've made a fortune on selling drugs and destroying our people. We lost 300,000 people last year to fentanyl and drugs. They're bad news. Yeah, that's true. If Mexico wanted help with the cartels, we would be honored to go in and do it. I told her that. I would be honored to go in and do it. The cartels are trying to destroy our country. They're evil. And, we had 300,000 people die last year from fentanyl and all that. We had millions of people brought into this country that shouldn't be here. The cartels brought them in. So if she said that I offered to do that, she's 100% right.
Are you disappointed that she denied that request? She doesn't want.
Well, she's so afraid of the cartel she can't walk. So that's the reason. And I think she's a lovely woman. But the president of Mexico is a lovely woman. But she is so afraid of the cartels that she can't even think straight.
I was thinking about the sanctuary cities because here in Seattle, Washington, they are passing ridiculous laws for criminals. And unfortunately, the black people, and when I say black people, guys, it's just a few. The majority, I think, is better. I'll give you this example so I don't get chewed out because I love black people. In Honduras, we're all the same. We were black, brown, white skin, Asian, we were all just Honduran. Here in America, that's the way that I see Americans. I don't see a white person, I don't see a black person, I see everybody. I see all kinds of people, and to me, we're all here on the same side. Nobody's skin color is bigger than me, or smaller than me, or above me, or under me. We're all equal, and nobody intimidates me in any way. And, and I defend myself. I have defended bullies. I have beaten up bullies. I defended a lot of smaller people than me, innocent people. I'm not Superman. I've lost my battles, but nonetheless, I stand for justice. With that being said, there was an accident that happened here in Seattle not too long ago where a state patrol got hit on the back of his patrol vehicle at 100 miles an hour. It happened to be an illegal immigrant, was under the influence, was drunk. The bottom line, guys, is we have drunk drivers that are American citizens. I get it. We get drug addicts that are Americans. I get it. I get that we have gang violence that are American. I get it. But the fact is, we don't need extra violence coming in here unchecked, unvetted. Some of these people are they just don't care. They think the law is what they make of it. And that's not how it works in this country. You got to respect the law. And it gets to me because of sanctuary cities, these people get away with murder, so to speak. You know that you hear of judges like the Minnesota judge, I think it was, you know, hiding an illegal immigrant from ICE, you know, from immigration police, and you know it's a federal crime. You can't do that. So sanctuary cities like the ones here in Everett in Washington, they're breaking the law, and they tell us that we're breaking the law when we do something that they don't agree with. I think that's ridiculous. You know, I believe the guy was supposed to have a court date. They know ICE is aware of, and they might come pick him up and deport him. But because of the sanctuary city, I don't know if they've gone through already, but they were thinking about just dropping all, you know, the whole case. And this illegal immigrant, drunk driver, killed a person, and they might just walk free. With everything that they're doing, I wouldn't be surprised if they actually let him walk. It's crazy that in the days that we live in today, you know, criminals get put in a pedestal and law-abiding citizens get thrown under the bus, way in the back of the bus. Which back of the bus to me is good. I like back of the bus. It's chiller back there. But that's just me. I went to the store today wearing my black MAGA hat. A few people were like, yeah, they like my hat. Hey, nice. It looks good on you. Thank you very much. And some people were giving me that mean look because this is, after all, a blue state. But, you know, I don't do it to make people angry. I do it because it's my right, it's my freedom. And they need to learn to be disciplined themselves, to respect my rights. This doesn't say F anybody. This doesn't, you know, flip anybody off. On the contrary, I am wishing America to be great again and even better than it's ever been in the world. With that being said, I think that the Democrats have lost all credibility. You know, I touch on tax issues. If you disagree with me, let it be known in the comments down below. I'd be more than happy to address them. But before you do your research, as you should. Don't take my word for it. Go do your research and see what's going on. Because in every state might be different. But what I tell you is that what I have researched and I have found, I have seen it myself because I know some people that actually get these top total benefits. And I don't know how because I know that they're illegal. Okay? And, you know, yeah, no, I don't go tell the government, hey, I got some illegals here. No. They should have that information already. And unless they're committing a crime, it's not my job to go tell on them. Yes, I know I am a patriot, but I also feel that there's some things that the government can do better. And I know it makes me sad, believe me, when I know that there's some good undocumented people that should be given the right to stay here and work and everything. But the problem is that by allowing these illegal immigrants to be in here, the American people are paying for it. And I think that's a very disrespectful and selfish way to looking at things. A lot of the people that come here with children, there's not even their children. You know, Joe Biden messed up. They messed up. Over 20 million people in here illegally. And now all those people that had some waiting list to maybe get some papers are in danger of being deported themselves. And the due process has already gone and passed. All they got to do is pick them up and deport them back to the country where they came from. It's sad reality, but that's the reality. And so if you are pro-open borders, you are guilty of this problem that we have today. When I see Holland, Senator Holland go to Salvador for a gangbanger, an MS-13 guy. I mean, I hate to keep talking about this guy because the news is everywhere, but you cannot be stupid. Even the president himself of Salvador said that he was a gangbanger and a MS-13, and he is where he belongs. They should just drop that. You need to start defending American citizens. The Salvadorian that claimed to be his wife, that did 2 claims of spousal abuse, she herself is a liar. She's not a dependable source. I don't believe a word she says. I believe that she is a liar, and I can see it in her eyes when she says it. The way that she was so proud of having his hand with the MS-13 symbol on it tells me everything that I need to know about her. Remember that gangbangers is not just men, it's also women, it's also wives and mothers and sisters and daughters. that are all corrupted in this stuff. And so I'm not saying that all my neighbors that are Hispanic are illegal or that they're drug dealers or no. You know what? They live peacefully. I'm not going to go and bother them with anything. But if you're a criminal and you're committing crimes, I have no pity for you. I have no empathy. I have no sympathy for you. If you're a criminal, you need to go to jail. As a matter of fact, the only confliction information that I have is if you are a criminal and you are illegal, should you go to jail here for probably for the rest of your life, or you're going to get deported? And when do you get deported? Is your country going to abide by their law and say, okay, hey, you committed this crime over there, you're going to be punished over here. Boom, here's a jail, you're going to go in there. And so there's a lot of different issues that people will fight about. And I know that Democrats like to fight for criminals, so there goes that. I know that some people talk about civil war and all this stuff, and believe me, I can see it very close. When you have politicians, corrupted politicians fighting amongst themselves, when you have all these Democrats fighting against Republicans trying to save this United States of America and its people, you have Democrats saying they are trying to save democracy. You know what? They don't believe in democracy. They're communists. They're socialist communists. The Democratic Party does no longer exist. These are selfish people that only care about their value. They keep blaming everybody else for breaking the law, but they're the ones breaking the law. They're saying this is unconstitutional, but what they're doing is unconstitutional. They say Donald Trump is breaking the law. They're breaking the law. Activist judges need to be fired, need to be stepped down. Somebody else that has a neutral American mentality with a blindfolded to give justice to everybody equally, that's who needs to be in the Supreme Court. I have too many activist judges in there that I don't understand why they're in there. And oh my gosh, I wish that we can actually vote them out, but we really don't. We can't. And most people vote ignorantly. They just see a name and it says, oh, Democrat, boom, check the box. And they don't care if that person is good or not. They have no idea what this person is, but because they're loyalists to their party, they make the mistake to put the wrong people in office, and then we have to pay the consequences. We have CNN reporters over there that says, oh, Donald Trump, he said that he was going to take the taxes off over time, and he's trying. But your Democratic Party is stopping him. Every step of the way, you're fighting against him. Well, he also promised no tax on tips, and he's doing it, and you keep stopping him. Everything that he said he was going to do, he's doing. But Democrats are so into trying to contradict and fight him every single step of the way. They threaten him. 8647 is the last threat that I've seen. AOC, idiot Puerto Rican girl that is over there saying that if you lay a finger on any of the Congress persons, you're going to have a problem. Really? What problem? If you break the law, you have the problem. You have senators over there saying, oh, you'll see what's going to happen to them if they decide to bring some charges. You'll see what happens. They're so threatening. They're a menace to society. And how are we going to stand for that? We don't. So I made this video ranting about everything, but I wanted to touch on taxes and on the sanctuary cities. Hopefully this gives you a little bit of insight on it. If you have any comments, again, questions, concerns, put them down in the comment down below. Love to reply and maybe have some type of, once I get 50 subscribers, I believe I can go live. So I would love to do some live questioning back and forth. If you guys want to, I will announce it. And if I get, at least 5-10 people to reply that they're going to watch and ask questions, then I'll probably do that live. But until then, guys, thank you so much for watching. Till next time, God bless. Peace.
If anyone's breaking the law in this situation, it's not members of Congress, it's the Department of Homeland Security. It's people like Tom Homan and Secretary Kristi Noem. You lay a finger on someone, on Representative Bonnie Watson Coleman, on Representative, or any of the representatives that were there, you lay a finger on them, we are going to have a problem.